Hey guys, UG here, and we've got some patch notes that are coming out on Tuesday, and with them we're getting some massive ret paladin buffs. Just right off the bat, in the PvE side, we're getting a 20% damage buff to Final Verdict, and this is going to affect PvP also, which is going to be pretty insane, you know? Templars is most of our damage, so buffing that by 20% is pretty massive. It's going to especially be insane once we get our 4 set, and we're going to be able to just be spamming Templars over and over again whenever it procs, which could be an insane amount of damage now with this 20% damage buff. Right now, it's hitting for, on the high ends, like 1.5, average is probably 80k, so it'll be probably closer to an average of a mil almost, which could be pretty nice, especially if we're getting our 4 set and we're just able to spam it over and over and over again. That could be a ton of damage. And then on the PvP side, we're getting a couple more buffs. First off, we are getting a reversion to the Avenging Wrath nerf. I'm not really sure how relevant it's going to really be because Excited is just so much better for the most part, and we're also playing the Brock Wings on Wake of Ashes build, so having the reduced cooldown from Avenging Wrath really doesn't matter too much. So I'm not sure if this is going to even matter at all, but I might test it out either way. Then we're getting a 20% damage buff to Blade of Justice. I'm not really sure that's going to matter too much because Blade of Justice still doesn't really do too much damage. Maybe this will make it actually not hit like a wet noodle. That would be kind of cool. And then lastly, a pretty big one is they're buffing Divine Protection by 5%. So instead of being a 10% wall, it is a 15% wall. So now it's not going to feel just completely useless on its own, and we're going to actually have somewhat more of a defensive. It's not quite what it used to be. It's not 20%, which is what we kind of want, but it's better. It's better for sure. I think with all these changes, I think Ret's going to actually potentially be pretty good. 20% damage buff to our hardest hitting ability, 5% buff to our wall, and a 20% damage buff to a random generator. Overall, I think it's going to be pretty good, especially because they're nerfing a ton of the other well-performing specs, like Windwalkers, Ferals, things like that. So I'm looking forward to see how Ret does in the next coming weeks. But that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.